Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. How we doing? Good. Woo! Thanks for being here. Welcome to the Poetry Center. My name is Tyler Meyer. I work here as the director at the Poetry Center. It's a big joy to have folks back here for night 2 of the 2026 INNAPO retreat readings. How many of you were here last night? Thanks for coming back. Good work. What you heard last night, this is like the awesomeness again. So it doubles. It comes twice. And if you missed it last night, you're in luck because it's going to be awesome tonight. So your Friday's about to get really, really good. It has been a really amazing, and incredible and profoundly meaningful week, truly. And it has been such a joy to have opportunities to share the work that's been happening back with this community. And so thanks for being here to hear about the things that have been happening and what everyone has been up to. Very quickly, if you're here in Tucson, there's a couple of events coming up at the Poetry Center later this month. So next week on Thursday, April 9th, we have the Belarusian poet Volha Hapayeva, who's coming to be with us, and we're really excited about that. That's a partnership with an EU-based poetry group called Versopolis that's interested in broader exchange between EU poets and American poets. And so we're very excited to be hosting Volha here. She'll be reading in Belarusian, German, and English across the translation. So if you speak one language, come and be jealous, like I will be. And we're super excited about that. She's amazing, and really a truly prominent voice in Eastern European poetry. Right after that, on April 16th, we have the writer Julia Alvarez, best known for so much of her fiction, but has a really wonderful new book of poems that will come out in 4 days. Called Visitations. And so we're thrilled to have Julia here for part of that book launch work and celebrating that work in Tucson, and we hope you'll come back for that as well. So that's a few things coming up. I said some of these thank yous last night, but I want to say some of them again for folks that are joining us tonight for the first time. And so I hope you'll give a big, loud, sustained applause for Sarah Chisholm and Chuck Hudson of the MHA Nation for their support of what's been happening here at the INNAPO retreat. Keep it going for Mark Batti, who's helped make this happen. And then I really want to thank Levi Esquera, who's here with us tonight from the Office of Native American Advancement and Tribal Engagement here on campus. Levi, thank you for your support, for your leadership. We're grateful. And this is one of the reasons why we've been able to do all the things we've been doing. Big thanks to the Amerind Museum, which was the host of the retreat earlier in the week. I think I saw Kelly Holt. So much to the Amerind, which has been a big part of what's been happening. To the Poetry Center staff, man, am I lucky. I'm so lucky. And especially to Paula Valenzuela, thanks for all your hard work, for your creativity, for your grace. It's a real honor to get to work alongside you and to learn from you, and I so appreciate you, and thanks for all your hustle. There are many more to thank, and I just want to say, maybe I'll do that this way. The Poetry Center right now is in a new strategic direction that we call the Belonging Initiative. And we're trying to think really hard about how we can use poetry and poetry experiences to help build more of the conditions for belonging and how that might happen. So it asks the question, what is belonging? Or what does it mean to belong? And what does language have to do with this? And I think it often comes down to being in a kind of right relationship. I think this is possible, or maybe most possible, in the arena of a poem, and I think the best ones teach us how to be in relationship with our boldest, wildest hopes and with our most vexing challenges, sometimes at the same time. And I think of Ophelia's poem last night that she read at the end of the reading in the midst of songs. And she says in that poem, if you were here last night, bear with me, she's better than I am, but I'm gonna say some of this language again because it's so good. We're in the midst of song, right? A place where language and landscape become maybe one thing, the same thing. And she goes on to say, our heart is full of joy, our mind is good, our land is good, the land is all beautiful, take a look. There is a light rain all around, take a look. And this is what I mean by being in right relationship, I think. Something that is ultimately felt. And when it's felt, you want to share it. And so to the fellows, what amazing, amazing work you have done this week. I have so loved hearing your words. That work is good. Take a look. To the INNAPO faculty, To the visiting writers, your generosity is incredible. You have been a guiding force. It has been awesome to be in your presence. And I say to all of you, that work is good, everyone. Please take a look. To the absolutely outrageously great INNAPO staff who works so hard on the details for all this beauty that has happened this week to come forward. The work is so good, you guys. Take a look. And to Kim Blazer, it means so much to have your trust, to partner with you, to think with you, to dream with you, and to build with you. This work is really good. You're really good at it. Please take a look. And this is what I mean about being in a right relationship, of being in a place where you know something is correct and connected. And it has been a real honor for the Poetry Center to be in that space. It's been an honor for us, I think, to think about how we might aspire to the work we want to do in this belonging initiative. And I'm so grateful to learn from you. So please help welcome up Kim Blazer to take over from here.
Oh my goodness, I didn't, did I? Oh my gosh.
It's just,
see, this is what happens.
take a look.
Take a look. Please don't leave. So, okay, I was so excited to present this to Tyler, and it came open, but it's all good. So, we just want to say, honestly, you're amazing. Your staff and your space is amazing, and it has been really, really beautiful to work with you. I truly can't express how generous and supportive person you are, and you probably all know this, right? So we have this gift for you.
Thank you so much. Oh, thank you.
And you get to have the box.
Very good.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. That was very awkward of me, wasn't it? Oh, my gosh. Bonjour, everyone. Bonjour, Niji Kwewug. Bonjour, Nindinawe Baganadok. Hello, my friends. Hello, my relatives. It's really, really been good and right to be with you this whole week. It's been beautiful. The fellows, the faculty, the staff, and all the people at the places that have helped make us feel at home, have been wonderful. The weather, oh my gosh. I kind of feel like we may have brought that to you. But it's all been just a stunning week. But Kim Blazer, Nindigenous, Anishinaabe Kwe, Nindao, Gawababi Bonikag, Nindunjaba, Migizi, Nindodem. Ingi Maji Naganas, Inepo, Mityu, Ipi, Nishtana. My name is Kim Blazer. I'm an Anishinaabe from the White Earth Nation of northwestern Minnesota. I'm Migizi, or Eagle Clan, and Indigenous Nations Poets. It was founded in 2020. Can you believe it? INNAPO is a national Indigenous poetry community committed to mentoring emerging writers, nurturing the growth of Indigenous poetic practices, and raising the visibility of all Native writers, past, present, and future. INNAPO recognizes the role of poetry in sustaining tribal sovereign nations and Indigenous languages. So we double down on all the thank yous that Tyler already gave. We are so grateful for all the support we've gotten from various organizations and individuals in Tucson, in Arizona. I'm not sure, did you mention Arizona Humanities? Arizona Humanities also. I feel like there's one other. Oh, and today, University of Arizona Press gave us a beautiful workshop, invited our writers. So now you're going to not only hear some of them, just keep watching, because you might have books coming out of your very own press. So I want to thank those organizations. And then I also, if you'll allow me to say the names of some of the other organizations that support us, because we like to always thank them: Henry Luce Foundation, Academy of American Poets, Mellon Foundation, Hawthornden Foundation, Amazon Literary Partnership, the Poetry Foundation, and many other individual donors who have made this retreat and INAPO in general viable. And if you would like to support us and become one of our donors, visit us at indigenousnationspoets.org. So we have an incredible lineup of performers tonight. We have new fellows, so the first time with us. We have returning fellows who are coming back and helping to mentor as well as to continue to grow their own poetry practices. And we have an incredible group of faculty and visiting writers. So we have a wonderful lineup. And then, don't leave your seats, because we have a very special closing. I'm just going to leave that hanging out there. We've been concentrating on sacred spaces in Indigenous poetry, so some of the readers may aim in that direction with their performances. But I am now having the delight to turn over the podium to Rob Arnold, who is one of our board members. He's the executive director of Poets House in New York City. He's Chamorro. He is an incredible poet, art supporter, and he has a new book coming out, which I'm not allowed to talk about, but he might be able to. But he's been one of our faculty members as well, and please help me welcome, because he has been awesome all week long.
Thank you so much, Kim. It's really wonderful to hear your beautiful words of gratitude. I want to continue that note of gratitude to all of you for being here this evening. Last night I was up here reading poetry, and I talked about tenderness, because I do believe that poetry is an act of tenderness. I think that poetry is a gift. And one of the things that I talked about with one of my, I did the thing. One of the things I talked about with one of my classes or workshops was how poetry is put on a page and it leaves the body when it's put on the page. This is the little workshop packet we all looked at with the poems on the page. And then when it's spoken, when it's read, it leaves the body when it goes onto the page. And when it's read, it comes back into the body. And Kim mentioned the idea of sacred spaces, and I do think that there's a sacred space between the reader and the audience. And so I want to thank you for offering that sacredness to the space. Another thing that we did this week is we made pinch pots with one of our readers tonight, the amazing poet and potter, Max Early. And I was looking at this is mine. My little humble bowl, and I was noticing how it is in the shape of my palm, because we made them in the hand, and it reminded me that all art is in the shape of the human who made it. So we're going to see many different shapes of art tonight. We're going to see poetry being tender. We're going to see poetry doing the thing that poetry does, which is make a connection between one person and another, inviting a shared humanity in that. And we're going to see pure, unadulterated Indigenous excellence tonight. So let's give it up for all the readers that are going to read tonight. Let's give it up for all the readers who read last night, including me. And give it up for everybody who's offered that tenderness. So I think we're going to just get things going. And also, I will say that last year I emceed one of the events at Poets House, and I invited the audience to get a little rowdy. And I would love to make that invitation of you. I know that I talked about tenderness, but this is a celebratory space, and I would love to celebrate these amazing writers that are going to be reading tonight. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up our first reader.
And I'm going to read the bio, and I'm also going to talk a little bit about my experience of their work. For Kentaro, my first reader, language was a barrier between Kentaro Herder and his grandmother Lily. In quiet afternoons, they held knife-sharpened pencils while he wrote the ABCs, and she drew spirals for her next wool rug design. Spiraled tongue, this is how he met poetry. Now, that's his bio. Imagine his poetry. When I think about Kentaro, I think about wing beats. We had an exercise this afternoon, and we heard the wing beats in his poetry. I think about the generosity and fluidity of thought and language that you feel in his work, and I think about the way that he thinks around and through and under and over any obstacle to bring us a true, authentic, original, and humane body of work. Kentaro Herder.
Thank you for that introduction. Oh, I forgot. So, Inapo had me feeling like Joy Harjo brushing my hair over the hotel sink this morning. If you know, you know. Yate She'e Kentaro Harder Yanisha. I am from Kente, Arizona, the northern region of the Navarrese. It is a great honor to be the next poet reading at this podium, just after Ophelia's yesterday. I feel woven and blessed, and this is the poetic statement of a writer I once met. Dream 1, God takes a sip of wine and puts a needle on Saturn's ring. Dream 2, she will and will wake from a sun-heavy nap in a millennia. Dream 3, Georgia O'Keeffe caused so much grief, sky above clouds has Priscilla Presley dancing, aesthetic pelvis with an opening as wide as one of Jupiter's moons, an aesthetic lily has a sun in the center obnoxious as the spread of a man's legs. A lizard lost a tail in New Mexico and prays in Arizona, and then body lies in purgatory in aesthetic sleep. Dream 4, the boy has a buzz cut, cage-free brown chicken egg head and eyes puddled with the reflection of tadpole questions. He is Martian to a land, copper Mars. The boy stares into the water and focuses on the being between the tadpole and clouds, stares at his long hair, pierced ears, and doe-shaped body. Interlude, sleep paralysis. Dream 4, part 2. Martian boy learns L/ and Th and ampersand and Virgil and eats it all up. Tadpoles, commas, and brain mush eats it all up like blue corn mush. Martian boy goes back to the pond to ask the man, why does your belly have L/ Th and Virgil and so much blood? He knows the truth. I know the truth. I write to sharpen ourselves. This poem is about my great uncle, my grandma's little brother, Batsila Puppy. He was hit by a white woman and nothing was ever done about it. And the intergenerational trauma of alcoholism is also woven in. Lily became a black cloud sheep, 2010, without sin. Grandma's fingers streamed down calloused rock skin like a royal ghost, varnish. Ashki Digis doesn't remember Mickey's in his last, without sin. Grandma's fingers kiss sand for sink mud to tug Ashki Digis from ripping into her last woven rug. 1975, dig. Lily behind a loom packs black sheep yarn to weave Batsila Puppy into her pictorial rug. Jokes about not having to dye this one. Save me some time, she says. Dig. Lily in front of a metal jail loom in Farmington, New Mexico, wore her church coral forward past the guards. Batsila Puppy walked out with his tail between his legs. Cost me my dime, she says. Dig, 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 dig. 1989. Lily beneath her headscarf, spindle in hand, never chooses night's wool again, with crusty dough in hand. Haja, Haja, Haja Shatsila, she says. Shh, shh. Came the static from KTNN, the voice of the Navajo Nation. Lily finds Batsila Puppy in the radio waves. Silver Danahotso rodeo buckle, white tie-dye shirt with an orange cat, black cowboy hat and freshly shaved, they say. Shh, shh. Lily's soul was muddy for 7 days. Batsila Puppy was found on the side of the road in Kirtland, New Mexico. Was hit by a white woman as if he was just a stray dog, a 30-minute inconvenience for her. Parked her Suburban and opened a can of peas, carved the chicken, and ignored the carcass injustice broadcasted. Shh, shh. 2010 again. With sin, Ashki Digis atones for his, but can barely form a sentence. And Grandma Lily became a black cloud sheep, swells in the sky before Ashki goes Digis. Brings the rain for Ashki to remember he still has sin. Grandma Lily became a black cloud sheep for Ashki Digis and Batsile carcass. Drunks still need their toh, she says. On a lighter note, I would like to leave off with this illustration. This was a published poem in Pima Community College Literary Sanskrit. Strange weather. For every bird chirping, there is a brown boy crying for Coca-Cola, for milk. If Bright's Brown had to be one name, I would call it Monsoon, where and when a wet dog turns into mud. A black shirt drowns in explosion. Bleach is used to tie-dye. A grandfather is still in war. Sun rays abort on beaches. A jet soars above. One rock tumbles down a canyon side. A grandma turns the faucet of a church sink. A sheep is hung and a throat is slit. Blood drips into Tupperware. This is where strange weather is in my lungs. Thank you.
This is where strange weather is in my lungs. Is that the line? Oh my God. I want to write to sharpen ourselves. I write to sharpen ourselves. Is that the line? Damn. I had the pleasure of working with Kantaro and our next poet on the collaborative poem that you're going to hear later. And I got to see in real time the brilliance and energy and generosity that both of these poets offer. And the next poet particularly, I like to say sometimes that poetry is an act against silencing. And this next poet, her work embodies that notion. The poems are proclamations. The poems are gloriously alive. They're testaments to the beauty and power and sometimes the pain of living. Mariano Rivera is Yoemi poet of the Pascuayaqui tribe of Arizona. Her poetry has been featured in an art exhibition in collaboration with the Arizona State Museum and is currently engaged in fostering art within her community. Mariana.
Thank you for the beautiful introduction. And thank you, Kentaro, for opening up the space with such beautiful words. My name is Mariana Rivera. Yo senchamanyavu kechamalea inapo Mariana Rivera tea. I'm a member of the Pasquiyaki tribe here in Tucson. And as you know, I am reading before you today with Indigenous Nations poets following a mentorship retreat where we discussed things like sacred spaces, what being sacred means, the importance of water and water as roots. And so on that note, I'll be reading 2 poems for you, and this first one is about being afraid to swim. It's called Mala. What would a world be without water? What is a world without a mother? Why fear what gives us life? Conviction in your feet, firmly in sand. Your babies meekly greet watchful waves. 2 wise, all-knowing spirits meet and never touch, too afraid of what collision would mean. There is a mother from years outworn, reaching for her daughter, always. Pesky, leaky, dripping sink, spouting out gentle coos to ears deafened by sounds of man building cities over land. Homesickness lurks in dry riverbeds. Do you feel her? Pat your back, kiss your cheek, or graze your hand when drizzles fall gently upon us? Drops like fingertips, shy of grasp. You dip your toes from pool's shallow end where she is contained, weakened, never daring to dive deep. She cries. Every summer monsoon storms. She hasn't forgotten us. The Ocotillo knows, blooming in respect. Life bestowed upon unknowing souls. It is a labor of love to roam the sky, slither beneath cities, carve mountains, swallow islands, and still run softly between our toes. Mala wiggles my feet in the mornings. She says the price of staying in bed is each little piggy I've grown, which she can steal at any time, never does. Between fingertips and palm, I feel her grip tight, how waves tug against the shore. Thank you. The Native Woman and the Casino was a match made in a boardroom somewhere long ago. Where else is there for her to go? Where else can she pair seeds and beads around her neck, dangle stones from ears without becoming a history teacher to the white eyes that lay upon her? Where else will they allow Native matriarchs to command the room? America takes power. Grandmothers foster their right to rule. In the sea of whiteness that is corporate America, craving, understanding, silenced by history, bound to it, shackled to soda-stained seats for slot machines. The Native Woman and the Casino. Where do other people go? To live and breathe their communities, to be seen and to see. At the casino, they know her by her mother. They tell her that her father is a good man, and each one really will love her for her. She reminds them of themselves. When they look her in the eyes, it is a quiet acknowledgement of the weighted history that brings us to this neon place, 3 generations at a time, day shift, swings, overnights. Glass ceilings covered by a paper sky that keep us reaching for the stars beneath the reign of a work-from-home white woman who strolls along a beach or a hill or a high-class city street because she is not bound to this corner of the valley like the Native Woman and the Casino. Thank you.
Did I do it right, Ben? Thank you so much, Mariana. That was amazing. Another round of applause for Mariana. Our next reader is a Danette Ryder from Shiprock, New Mexico, on the Navajo Nations. Her clan's Tlasch'e, born for Tanet Zatni. Her maternal grandfather is a Shihi, and her paternal grandfather is Tachitni. She has a BA in Education Studies and a BA in Literary Arts from Brown University. And the world building in her poems, the specificity of detail and texture, the tactility of her work is truly remarkable. And also, I will say that she brings that exact level of detail and world building into the feedback that she gives on her workshops and to her just general knowledge of poetry. So give it up for Danielle Shandine Emerson.
You're gonna see all my stickers. Ahia to everyone and all of the poets who have shared before. It's been an amazing experience being here. So my first poem is titled April Showers. Shiyaj, my little one, what will you keep? In the timber regions, July heat, ya'i jatso, orange bulbs, heavy lidded, pressing my palms inward against my eyes, goat head stack my spine, tethering my body to desert sagebrush. My forearms lock like dry weeds, bunches of jade and olive surrounding the irrigation ditch, wax string wrapped around bundles of chilgowehe, Navajo tea, collected in white plastic Walmart bags from Shumasena's wooden cabinet behind the raw-eaten pantry door. Hanging like ghost bead bracelets, they raise arms to ward off bad dreams along my cousin's wrist, plucked from the side of the old highway where accidents seemed predetermined, colliding like smeared cicadas on stovetop pavement. She'e unsure, hula, turning over dirt and dry hands, digging with oak twigs as Navajo tea grazes my knees and I step closer to the sky. Yago doklij, a baby blue jean jacket where specks of Shandine, sunshine fall like a bine morning hue on dew-loving skin. My cousin walks with her back tall, strong like Chilgowehe bluffs. I want to cry, collapse from my right thumb inward until my skin is inside out. But Shiyaj, she says, watch the stars climb again. Night after night, they look like your siblings' eyes, pools of fire-stoked light. When people ask, what will you keep? Wrapped Chilgowehe on my hands, staining my fingers husk green. I'll keep their love, my cousin's strength, stems of Navajo brilliance refusing to bend as cars drive by, disturbing a budding Nijaniful silence. And then this next poem is titled Navajo Introduction. My friends used to joke, no clans after midnight, and elders would shake rippled heads as thank you, Navajo's in the room. From the east landed the long pointed lips, spinning and spinning and spinning with string from loose wrinkled hands, forming the two coyotes and Dioge. I had a crush on a boy in class until I realized he was my cousin by clan. Tangled and sticky yarn that unravels like our umbilical cords, buried in rich farm dirt. I still think about him sometimes and the distasteful burning I'd feel on my lips from nights I used to fantasize about his before I knew. It is good. Hello, I am sunshine, I am medicine. I am Red Cheek Clan, born for the Tangled People clan. My mother used to joke, we're red bottoms, your butt was bright red when you were born. I learned later there are two translations, Red Cheek, Red Bottom, a clan passed down from my mother and all those Red Cheek Clan mothers before her who were born with red bottoms and mesa pinched cheeks. I was told by my father that I was born with my hand, palm outstretched, reaching out of my mother's vagina. Children are supposed to be born head first, crowned, bloody and round, not reaching and reaching as though they're chasing invisible butterflies. Now when my fingers clench and bend as I move from place to place, I think about how the first part of me to enter the world were my fingertips, reaching and reaching, perhaps for another hand to hold, reaching for a name to hold, a family, an old t-shirt wrinkled from my grip as you attempted to pull me off, because why was I holding on so tight? What was I holding on to? The first thing they teach us in Navajo Language 1 is our clans, how to say our name and where we're from. How do I say that I came from my mother's vagina with my tiny right arm straight and sprawled? How do I say that my name came from a Navajo man, an old artist friend my father knew, Daniel Shandin, a man I've never met, never heard my father talk about, an image of a person I can't conjure but lingers in the breath of my Navajo introduction. Would elders shake their heads knowing that my mom had me before marriage, that I was the reason they married? In my hands, I watch as string droops with light from the early morning of when I thought of confronting my father about his first family, before me and my sisters and my brother and our mother all knew, nearly 18 years later. Yat it is good, it is good. Hello, I am Klasche and the Shle do Tatna Zatni Bashashin. I am Red Sheet Clan, born for the Tangled People Clan. Ashinhi e Dashache do Tat Cheatni e Dashanele. My maternal grandfather is the Salt People Clan, and my paternal grandfather, is the Red Running into Water People Clan. And it is good, it is good. Even as my family swirls round and round in the wind, tied together by our fingertips with white yarn that unravels from a wise blanket, smeared with warm winter sunlight on our mouths and dripping black coffee on our tongues, I say my introduction with a voice that reflects all the good things that come from the sun, all the good things that those before me have passed on through love, through keh and shale memory, through names and old crushed faces like thousands of stars, Sontlane, many stars, gathered, collected like copper pennies in my tiny outstretched hand. Thank you.
That rhyme of stars and scars, oh my God. Keep it going for Danielle. Are you ready? Okay. Our next poet is hydrating. He's an activist. He's a community builder. He is, I'm very interested in this idea. I think it's Anne Waldman's idea of the infrastructural poet. Community builders, people who make things happen for other people. That's Robert. And his poems take the pulse of the moment and transform it into urgency, as you'll see. I'm so excited to listen to him read. Robert Harold Bordeaux is an enrolled member of the Sichangu Lakota Oyate and writer and activist from Spearfish, South Dakota. His latest collection of poems, Prairie Bones, is out now from Wiyo Ukihipi. All right, amazing productions. Give it up for Robert.
How Mudako Yepi, Robert Bordeaux and Machiapi, Sichanga Lakota Oyate, Amataha, Nalaha, Ochakpe, Otunwe, Awati, Shante Washte Nape, Chuzapelo. My name is Robert Bordeaux. I come from the Sichanga Lakota people up in, currently residing on Rosebud Reservation in South Dakota. And I greet you all with a good heart. So thankful to be here. So thankful to follow such amazing poets. I don't want this week to end. I wanted to share a quick story before I dive into my work. I was listening to an elder share a story a couple years back. He talked often about how my tribe, my people, would send people in all directions historically and tell them, travel as far as you need to go until you learn something to bring home and to better our nation, to make our nation stronger. And that's been my experience here within Napo and with all the faculty and the fellows. And I'm really excited to take what I've learned here and bring that back home to my people in Chesapa and the hills up north. So I got 3 pieces for you guys tonight. This first piece is called Maka Unik Suyapi. I wish there was a better way to start this poem other than I come from a people shattered by violent hands. History tells this story in different ways. I choose to tell it from the eyes of the dirt, the hands of the trees, the mouth of my ancestors. I call this truth. I come from a people shattered into fragments, scattered across a land that weeps. This is both metaphor and literal. What it is not, however, is an ending or a beginning. Un Lakhotapi, we are Lakota. Wachin un Tagapi, we persevere. Our fragments, stories, and songs too powerful for colonial hands to steal away, slip through colonial fingers, fall to the earth as seeds ready to root. Maka unuksiapi, the land remembers us. Su ichagapi, seeds grow. Have you ever witnessed a child speak Lakota? Have you seen the little ones dance at Wachipi? If so, you'll understand that despite lost, we are not lost. We are seeds prayed into existence by our ancestors, sowed in dirt, rooted in land that remembers our name. Un Lakhotapi, Wachin un Tagapi, Su ichagapi, Maka un ksiapi. Thank you. This next piece is called Antler Petals. In the Lakota language, taksha is our word for deer. Tra, a body. Haksha, to bloom. Taksha, a body that blooms. In the cold right before spring, stoic brown bodies that call the pine home shed their antlers back to the earth before new growth. Similar to the leaves and stems of sage resting beneath the snow, waiting to awaken on a similar timeline. Both can be seen as a body that blooms. Winter lull sits in my bones. A season of dried petals and sleeping roots can be found in the soil of my chest, makes me think about what else inside me needs to be shed so that I may find new growth alongside the deer and the sage in the spring as a body that blooms. Thank you. Thank you. This is my last piece. It's inspired from my anti-mining organizing work I do up in the Black Hills, Sapa. I'm really thankful again for this. I'm excited to hear who's next. And again, I don't want this to end. But this is a piece I actually workshopped this week. It's a piece that I put together a few weeks ago and got to work with Rob Arnold, the dear Rob Arnold, on it. And I'm excited to show the workshop crew what I've done with it. A letter to Peshla and the Washichu. Dear Peshla, the Washichu wants to pierce your skin, stab into your graphite veins, and bleed you dry. But we will defend you so that Wakaisha may know your name, may know your place as the center of the heart of all that is. May know you as you are now, full of medicines. Home to the winged and four-legged, home to generations of our ancestors' prayers. We will fight for you so that the world will remember your name, Uniksuyapi, Uniksuyapi, Uniksuyapi. Dear Wesichu, we deserve to carry. Dear Wesichu, the land is our church. We do not want the places we stand and pray slashed and cut for profit and greed. We deserve to practice our religion passed down for generations in peace. We deserve to carry forward to the Wakaisha, to all future generations, our prayers, our practices, our language, our culture on a land that is healthy, that is protected, that is whole. The land is our relative. She deserves to be treated as such. I pray the greed that drives you dissipates like dew on the grass at Peshla as the sun rises on a new day. And your plan to harm our relative becomes but a memory, nothing more than the dust at the bottom of my feet. Thank you.
I mean, right? Wow. You know, I was going to add that one of the other things about Robert is that every time I looked at him, he was face down in his laptop, like furiously working every single second of the day, every little bit of off. And there was one time when I was going to go sneak a snack out of the kitchen, and Robert was working in the living room area, and I just didn't want to bother him. So, and I'm glad I didn't. So thank you so much for that. That was really beautiful. Speaking of beautiful, our next poet is an amazing potter. And something about Max is that he speaks, here I should do this, is that he speaks in poems. And particularly when he's talking about his process. We had the great fortune, as I mentioned, of learning how to do pinch pots with Max, and the generosity and the beauty of that process. And we fired it on the land. We built a fire together, and we fired it just on the ground, on the earth, and it was a stunning process. But the best part was just hearing Max talk about the work. So Max is both a poet and a potter, and sometimes he's even a pirate, I've heard. And his poems are like his pots. They're sprung from the earth, and they're touched by fire. They're little beautiful perfections made of spirit and generosity. Max Early is a Laguna Pueblo poet from Powhatan, New Mexico. His work is published in Poetry Magazine, Greenland and Press, Poetry Northwest, and many others. He currently teaches at the University of New Mexico's Art Studio Department as the Pueblo Party instructor. Max Early.
Thank you, Rob, for those kind words. I'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to read 4 poems. The first 2 will be from my first book, Ears of Corn, Listen. This all happens when you get old. That's the first thing to go. In the black blue hue of sunrise dawn. In the black blue hue of sunrise dawn, Mother Fire keeps me warm. I pray and breathe on the dry flowers, an offering to the deer spirit. Consumed by the flame, my prayer goes up in smoke, rainbow full of colors for the deer to see. They say, "Mu pukst kashtsi kaya nye." Look at the beautiful rainbow. Let's go over there. Climbing the hill in pursuit, fresh deer tracks everywhere. Directly in front of me, the rays of sunrise glisten on the antlers. We have found the rainbow. Now it's time to go home. Home to the mountain lion, singing hunting songs of praise. Tribute and honor to the deer. Corn pollen prayers scatter in the wind. Bless us again, dear spirit. Thank you. This next poem goes out to my mom and to all the mothers out there. Matrilineal winter. Traditionally at Laguna, the house is given to the oldest daughter. At Acoma, the house is given to the youngest daughter. The house belonged to Grandma Marie, given to her oldest daughter, Jane. Soon Jane gave Sister Clara the family home. 3 sisters in their winter share their mother's house. They are Orion's belt, wintry sister stars. 3 stars softly fading, reminisce festal shadows. Mom's chili stew cooking, 7-Up in the Frigidaire. 3 sisters embrace home, but not like they used to. Keep moving around, more aches flare. What do we do with your house, Mom? We feel bad that you're getting old. We'll help you when we can. We miss the old you. Serious, oldest daughter, humorous, middle girl, cheerful, youngest baby, wintry sister stars. Thank you. These next two poems will be in my second manuscript, and this poem is comes from a big pot that I took some designs from it and turned it into a poem. It's with the School of Advanced Research in Santa Fe, New Mexico. It's part of the Grounded in Clay exhibit that's being displayed right now at the Indian Pueblo Cultural Center. We've traveled to several locations across the United States, and the pottery collection has come home now back to New Mexico. Flowers in the deer's house. Painted black line in circles, damp earth oya, opening a subtle path to skyward realms. As cirrus clouds spiral nearby rainbows. Light and shadow crosshatch, distant rains. Sound of shock waves slice like knives, thunder to arouse Tsitrui. The horned water serpent ribbons through winds of red leaves and feathers, while rainbirds stream into dark caverns. Water streaks down a stalactite as she applies a stroke of red paint to the slipped clay-white surface. With curves, hooks, and pointed beaks, she bends willow to form a hoop, a drumstick tied with yucca fiber. Sonic voice of water drum ripples as buds of mandalora and dahlia bloom on adobe floors and walls. Outside the house of fluorescence, burnished moon of ancient pursuit, halos, night sky, when stellar trail glistens north. As she sketches the eyes of the deer, cosmic starflower guides her journey to a trio of bucks standing silent in the deer's home at winter solstice. As she sketches the eyes of the deer, she whispers a blessing of fortuity to enhance her man's chances of game. From mouth to slender neck to mid-body, she paints reddish-brown line to an arrow-tipped heart above a belly of Bella. She exhales as she exits the opening of thoughts and prayers infused on clay, prosperous hunt, abundant rain, long life. Unfired masterpiece nestles in her lap. She lays her yucca brush aside to rest and daydreams of her distant relatives. Her fingers roll the silver pearl necklace she wears night and day, a gift from her father when her mother returned to Laguna. In the days of horse and wagon trails, a child of the Zuni Coyote clan, she treasures designs from her father's kin. Into the fired Grand Oya, she pours cascades of blue from bare grass baskets, storing shelled corn for winter sustenance. Thank you. My last poem I'll read is called The Stone Shaped by Song, and it honors all the women that brought us here today that would have to grind corn, and we had our own grinding songs and our clans, and all our clans were brought here, and those songs are in the wind now. Some are still being sung, but this gives tribute to the actual grinding stone that are still here with us today. The stone shaped by song. Only once at dawn I unearthed a grinding stone beneath a dirt floor at the old horse corral. She sang Ya'ana clan songs when there were those songs in the field, now barren and bursting with tumbleweeds. The land parched as potted polenta or peeled paint. Her skin, black lava. Her hair, shelled white corn. Her body curved like a half-moon crescent. Her face, rounded smooth, had thinned from where, like sand, the oceans washed ashore in the rise and fall of tide. On Hawaiian black beach, the flavor of salt women, red seaweed and slender green, shitrani, yucca, heirloom corn seed planted on a warm autumn day, sprouts then fades as songs wither into stillness, or bushes of sumac berries in the abandoned field, red fruit the deer devour, tart and tangy as hibiscus lemon tea. A mist arises when the stone recalls the clan woman's voices. Singing her songs, she remembers the rhythmic milling sound of mano and matate. She craves cornmeal and ground wheat. She cherishes the last song sung to her. She hums forgotten tunes. I lift her up and say, come home with me, rest in Cusco's garden. Sing with me. Tawae, Hopa, thank you.
It's a multimedia experience here. I saw a book, I saw a laptop, I saw a phone. Poetry lives everywhere. I mean, right? Right, Max? Right? Right? Thank you, Max. Wow. Our next poet is Haley Kirkwood, and Haley, I first met in Minneapolis, where they were a regional fellow. And I think, Haley, you were in the first fellows group, right? One of our inaugural fellows. And so are you, Max, right? So Haley and Max are both our returning fellows this evening. I'm so excited to get the chance to know them this week, because Haley's, I've been so impressed by the insightfulness and clarity of thought that they bring to their really spectacular poetry, but also to the feedback, to the way they show up in community, to the way, often Haley will say the very thing that I was thinking about 3 seconds before I realized I was thinking it. That's just how kind of in touch and insightful they are. So thank you for that. Haley Kirkwood is a direct descendant of the Fond du Lac band of Lake Superior, Ojibwe. Their debut poetry collection, To Think of a Match, is forthcoming from Triquarterly Press in March 2027. That is not that far away. So give it up for Haley Kirkwood.
Bonjour, thank you everyone for coming here today. I apologize, I'm not that shiny in real life, but here we are. It's my anti-Edward Curtis photo. It is a tintype, so if you know who Edward Curtis is, you know that reference. So the first poem I'm going to read tonight is based off of a prompt from my Niji, my close friend, Anthony Sabalos, there you are, who had asked the most beautiful prompt to ask us to think about what is the sound of a poem. So all throughout our retreat at Amerind, I was taking in the beautiful landscape, all of the living beings, all the plant beings and animals that were there, and trying to listen to them and their poem sounds. So many of you might recognize some of the references in this poem, which is titled The Sound of a Poem. Wind sweeping bird song down the canyon, soaking bobcat fur. The sound of stilled prickly pear beneath breath-tussled trees, the water hushed, pulled up through stone. A crackling in thumbprint grooves, laughter rising in freshly shaped pots, the sound of water we hope is drank for generations. The sound of a poem is not bird sound, but the sighs of rattlesnakes who they play above while they rest in their ancestral shade, their ears pinned to earth for sounds of far-off mountains. That is the sound of a poem, land's gossip, who has visited, when and why. And I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota, which has been in the news headlines for all the wrong reasons this last year. So this is a poem about our ICE occupation that happened in February. It is dedicated to everyone in our Twin Cities community who really stood up and stood together to say, this will not happen on our land anymore, get out. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, yes. Okay. And this is, it doesn't have a title yet, but it starts like this. Today I am woke Instacart. I back my Mazda up to the locked doors of La Vaquita, quick load, easy out, boxes of formula, masa, and a Rosca de Reyes cake, tricking my car's sensors into believing I carry unseatbelted passengers. I will not compare these rattling plastic bags to ghost. I will not privilege fear. The wind will not blow this cake from the roof of my car, and I will not allow any orange to escape and wallow in some hateful pothole glistening with ice, mud, and glass. All over the city, we cross slick berms with full arms. We memorize emergency contacts, fidget the plastic whistle, praise our hypervigilance at night, then curse it early morning. My mom tells me some people write these addresses down on toilet paper, then swallow them if ice pulls them over. But I just write down turn-by-turn instructions in a small notebook so I can put my phone on airplane mode for whatever small safety that grants us. Because I cannot be followed back to La Vaquita, where a round of tamales for volunteers are steaming, where Paloma handwrites grocery orders in a hot pink composition notebook, and where abuelas shopping for essentials are ushered into the store by freshly minted bodyguards, skipping their jobs in data entry or project management or sales, plumbing, grant writing. Back to the market for my second room, I tell Paloma I will be back for that La Bubu piñata, for my housewarming party at the stucco house I intend to buy a few blocks from where Renee Good was murdered, where lampposts are stapled and ribboned into memorials for kidnapped neighbors, mostly children. I can't imagine what you're going through, my mother-in-law says, while I sit here in lily-white Bloomington, but I have been so near to her condo delivering that Three Kings cake to a construction company near the Dairy Queen headquarters. I have fidgeted for too long at the doors of Southgate. Over pizza, we tell her how school buses full of supplies and food buffalo around my spouse's workplace, where Somali and Hmong and Spanish are spoken with more frequency than English. Hours later, after my North Minneapolis deliveries, Julio Sosa Solis is shot in the leg on 24th Street, and I wonder if I touched his hands passing the box of formula, or if I passed an unmarked SUV on the way there. I kiss my date over the duffel bag of first aid supplies she loads into my car, warns me I might be stingrayed if I park at her house for too long. I wonder if I'm being tracked into the Mall of America parking lot by Corsight, an Israeli AI security system, or the guards trained by a former member of the IDF as I drive a love to make out on the Hawaii floor on their lunch break. I want to believe we bless this dirt beneath concrete with our sweat, but neighbors are near whose pleasures have been confiscated, who shiver in hydraulic chambers of breath near Fort Snelling, near Bedote. It is a hell of a time to ramp up my polyamorous life. I debate my risk tolerance for catfishing off-duty agents and abandon them in a cornfield or some yet dug bottomless pit. But my risk tolerance is low. Detention in data centers proposed along corridors of MMIW billboards. Is it safe to take my poetry students to the conservatory, to the art museum? Frantically calling my mom in Duluth to see if she has a state or tribal ID, she tells me about the time Border Control harassed her brown skin when she was unhoused. Assholes, she hisses. Did your snap come through? I ask, my muscles aching with the weight of so many tortillas. Don't worry about me, she says. If they haven't killed me yet, I can survive anything. To be homeless on your own land, then told you do not belong here, this isn't new. History falls through us, or we fall through history. Our heaving bodies, your pleasure, my pleasure, your pain, my pain, if only we are open to receive it. Maybe while I still steer the direction of this body, I am trying to hold as many people as I can. Miigwech.
History falls through us, or we fall through history. Wow. Wow, thank you so much, Haley. So I first met Haley in the context of INEPO in Minneapolis, but I first met Haley in Seattle when Haley won the James Welch Prize and gave a reading there. And so can you see why Haley won the James Welch Prize? So thank you so much, Haley. Give it up for all of the fellows. Those readings were spectacular. Last night I met somebody who was torn about whether she could come tonight because there was a competing meeting of the astronomy club. And she is here tonight. And did I not promise you stars? Did I not promise you stars? Right? Thank you for being here. Thank you so much. And thank you for all the celestial poetry we've gotten. Wow, our next reader. I had the great fortune, as did many of us today at INEPO, of being in the presence of our next reader this afternoon at a workshop where he then proceeded to force us to write 2 full pages nonstop in 15 minutes. And it was incredible. It was an incredible experience. I'll give you just a moment of my experience of it. I started writing about my childhood home, about a creek bed I used to run around in, about the crawdads I used to pick up and run around with and chase my younger siblings with. And then because we were at the base of a mountain full of saguaros, full of ancestors, I started thinking about ancestors, and I started thinking about lost ones in my life and my family. And it was a beautiful experience. So that's what this next reader can do. That's what Bojan can do. So I can't wait to hear his reading. Bojan Lewis is Dene of the Dene, born for the Ashehi. He is the author of Sinking Bell Stories and a book of poetry, Currents, both of which received an American Book Award. Am I right? Both? Yes, amazing. He's been a resident at McDowell and teaches creative writing at the University of Arizona. Bojan.
Good evening. Thanks for having me. Thank you, Kim, Elise, Ophelia, Tyler, all the fellows. You all are just dope as hell. The future looks good. I can grow old in peace now. Speaking of old, Max, yeah, shit, I can't see anything. I'm gonna read an old poem from Currents and then some new poems. This has been sitting in a box for like 8 months. So. Poetry is slow and painful. I don't know if anyone told you that. This is called Arc Flash. The stars went off and on, as if wired by to hell with it electricians, tired of lighting scrap-patched houses, connected by threads of pre-dawn smoke to invisible weavings in the sky. Dim questions and silent answers. Cattle, gaunt and wanting, grazed between weeds across the valley, interrogated the dirt of wash and creek. How long since you've been clay after rain? Started awake at midnight, and under influence I sought my car to kill the soft snores beside me. Hauled ass out of urban desert decay to sandstone cliffs 5 hours away, where centuries of wind and more recent roadway gusts have made a half-pipe of its base, though not enough to topple the edge of the mesa's level. Hours from Phoenix, oasis greedy and artificial, I needed crystal, my dad's home and ceremony, less familiar mountain tobacco, not to guide my spirit used to mornings being lit, but to remind my tongue of blood, cold coffee made by other men's women who dispel me with smokes from cheap packs set within reach on their knees. Maybe they wish, aside from my soon departure, that I shared their danger, bastards who make home, confinement, and needs hush. I left and arrived months before the rainy season, though cuts along the cliff face over crystal shimmered with mica, like stars burnt out, taking eons to reveal their absence in myth-heavy constellations. The sun risen isn't for me, cattle being herded, or darkness in the room I left to wake alone. Here, a few cars idle without drivers, warm up before the workday, while smoke from houses vanishes and releases the night sky. That was a sestina I couldn't quite get, and I think it, became that, I read a lot in form, so a lot of these are forms. They don't have any titles, have abandoned titles completely. So you can guess at where the new poem begins. In the PICU, the bow of my right shoelace falls out, linoleum dragged. In the PICU, I count 2 minutes between cries for sucrose-coated pacifiers, 5 for an occluded TPN, 15 for low oxygen plinth waves, every 4 hours Precedex, sponge baths daily. 7 translucent tubes tunnel, 1 bilious remover, another a respirator shushing the minutes and hours and cc's of weeks we've measured life by. Seated next to a phalanx of infusers, reading Bulgakov, disheartened by ingredients needed for a vampire named drink, a pandemic exacts itself outside. Our hair thickens, curls in myth and isolation, migraine cries muted with sugar water. Saguaros beyond the window glass ignore us, millimeters by millennia. 1980, I grew the decade with my mother wired and incision stitched. That I'm ineffective against your hunger, I tire, spiral toward indifference. Once, I disappeared to Philadelphia, left for the funeral of my only grandma, returned to a single accomplishment, roof repair during earthquake, green swirling skies. Away, nothing much matters other than you're here, the week's week, rubberized beds in other units stripped of sheets, you sleep and I see you. I have like too many careers. I'm also a parent, so I've been writing haikus, which aren't easy. They just, like I was telling the fellows today, if you write 5 syllables a day, you're good. The car's tail light's gone. Shit fears I'll drink potions that will make me weak. You can guess the endings because I'm turning the page. Cheaters. Hey. My daughter sings now, her lyrics outdone by wind. I long to know them. Beyond the window, cars exhale over road. There's no knowing them. You don't have to clap every time. Throws me off. I got 2 more, they're very short. There are 15 scorpions pressed apart with a stick used for stirring paint that I need to tell you about. Couldn't tell you how they dwelled, haven't killed enough. They emerged through the cracks in the block wall separating each box of this Cro-Magnon neighborhood. I can tell you I wept, smashing sections as they escaped, moving like those fuckers from Aliens flicks. Anyway, it's been countless years since I searched the yard perimeter, black light, a false beacon in the muted night, a 9mm nestled against my hip, bullet chambered to blast the skinheads my sister told of, frantic, having driven the city all night. Among deadened asphalt synapses, we wait for dawn's liminal thread to offer blurred visions for sleep. She described a battle between cops and neo-Nazis. I perceived it as a singular and internal until somewhere in the conflict the house was injured, ruined, and left as such. This ruin never occurred. It was a wreck, I'm embarrassed to speak on, a false bend a quarter too far. I want to be clear about the scorpions. My wife crept behind me with her phone while I, among the apparitions of depression, released the safety and cleared the house of the nothing there. Hateful, I hadn't killed anything. All right, last one. This world glitters now. Mouth wants, eyes want, skin wants touch. Clouds gather black rain. Thanks.
What if we want to clap between each poem? It's Kimberly. We can applaud without even a bio so far. Yes. You know, I wrote a bunch of things down for everybody, but I didn't for Kimberly because I have gotten to know Kimberly over the last couple years and consider her a dear friend. And you know, I sometimes see Kimberly in New York City. I see her more in New York City, in fact, than I see her anywhere else because she keeps winning too many awards and keeps coming to New York City, which I think is delightful. So do keep winning awards and do keep coming to New York City so that I can see you. I have the great pleasure of having read a few of Kim's poems before they were published, and she'll say, "This is a mess." She'll say, "This is really, really rough," and then it's the perfect, crystalline, beautiful sliver of nature and heart and humanity that you've ever read, and needs no work. So that's Kimberly. This is Kimberly's actual bio. Kimberly is the founding director of Indigenous Nations Poets and the past Wisconsin Poet Laureate. Yes, Indigenous Nations Poets, Wisconsin Poet Laureate. The author of 6 poetry collections, most recently Ancient Light, which you'll hear in a minute. Blazer's honors include a 2026 Science and Literature Award from the National Book Foundation that was for Ancient Light. The 2025 Poets and Writers Writer for Writers Award also, yes. Masters Review Short Story Award and a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Native Writers Circle of the Americas. Anishinaabe enrolled in White Earth. Blazer's Professor Emerita at UW Milwaukee, University of Wisconsin, Milwaukee. Can you tell that I'm from Seattle? Yes. We say UW. There is no other word before the U and a W next to each other. University of Wisconsin, Milwaukee, and an MFA faculty member at the Institute of American Indian Arts. Her debut collection of fiction, Red Ants, is forthcoming from Counterpoint Press this October. So pre-order now. Give it up for Kim Blazer.
Now, what if I were to read from here? Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh in the mic. Well, I kind of did. So I've already greeted you. I have 4 poems, and I wanted to, for the fellows, kind of show a little bit of the different kinds of work that I do. And we've been focusing on spirituality. We thought about water. We were in Mission Gardens and thought about food. And we had a full moon. So they're all in here somewhere. And we built community. The first poem, I was built by inherited hungers. This is not a poem that names them. 1, as a body politic, we take up space in their ledgers. Yes, my relatives are the salvage bodies of history. We have ways they do not approve of, how we feed ourselves, for one. I have been taught where to find the winter cache of squirrels and how to walk away. As we walk, my brother quiets me. You cannot tell stories until you visit the places where they make their homes. Father said, the garden song calls the pollinators, and we must sing in tune. Nimama said, leave some for the spirits and the little people. And what she meant was, we are small in the green, frayed body of belonging. We learn from Makwa, from Mahingan, sometimes even from Nanabaju. By this I mean, not everything tattered is ruined. 2. They believe I was built of equations for gain. This poem is not an anthem. We still follow pictospirits, animal tracks, and seed paths. Not all of our tools have price tags. Not all of our safeguards are weapons. You will not find wild game in our lexicon. Ask yourself, are we the meat they covet? Okay, that's a little out of my range, right? Okay, the next poem is a poem that I got the title from Kaveh Akbar, who gave a talk, and it was called Poetry and Spirituality. And it was a stunning talk, and it's available at the Academy of American Poets. But there was a phrase in there that he used, postures of devotion. And that kind of just resonated with me. And I'm from northwestern Minnesota. I spend part of each year in a water access cabin adjacent to the Boundary Waters Canoe Area Wilderness. And part of this, much of this poem is situated from that area. Postures of devotion. Before me, Kawishui stretches, river a palette of frost. Nearby, glazed berries dot the cranberry bushes, melt into mirage. Icicles, too, drip remembrance. But metaphors of a world asleep fail this place, where even now a pileated woodpecker beats a rhythm of search, repeats day by day deeper. Watch while the leafless oak opens. Beneath the protective skin of tree, more hard-shelled beings, bark beetles, exoskeletons of ants. Hear the purr of wings landing, jarring rattle as head recites hunger. Watch the red blur of devotion, manic as our soul, our alone. Yet steadily each body maps resilience, where survival turns with planet, chases the sun. Wait is a courage we name winter. Beneath ice, mink, muskrat, and otter swim, stalk sleek shadows of fish. Woodland dwellers find feast each season. O despair, make that your gospel. Still, forest grandmothers, all roots, trunks, and limbs, uphold their pact. In rhythm of warm days and freezing nights, tree roots suction. Sap spills through bark wounds. Then our tongues, sticky whispering. Then our song. But in January, we hold this promise while lake ice shifts, dark a murmur, a creak. Now moonlight falls on snow crests. Always where two touch, night glistens. When distant wolf howls, answer comes. Imagine the upturned muzzle, body a triangle of sound, hazel eyes, mere slits, this reverence, an ancient hunger for pack. See too each black branch limbing, bare, suspended in soon. How pristine the listening posture of pine marten, of fisher, of fox, each body cocked to pounce, to dive nose first into snow's secrets, to search winter tunnels for mice. We too, poised like supplicants, rawness of the world, a prayer we read, but cannot speak, silence, an invocation, heavy as tobacco sinking into snow, into earth's altar. Against moon's brilliance, slit your eyes. Let warmth of reflected light fill you, that holy, that glance of tiny gods. Make of your hands an empty globe, your body a vessel taut as river. Okay, to follow that incredibly long poem, I have an incredibly short poem. So we were blessed to be outside under a moon and had a reading this week. Some of you were with us. Were you with us? Yeah. Okay, this is a moon poem. And it actually is a moon poem written in Italy because I was in Italy, don't be jealous, but I was in Italy, and I saw two full moons rise in the mountains. And it was just so stunning. I was there long enough to see two full moons. Okay, so the other night reminded me of this because there's something that happens to us, right? And this is how I understand it. And this is also a part of a number of poems I write that all have the same title, and that title is The Way We Love Something Small. The way we love something small. Moon glow in the saddle of mountains, a golden eye opening. Now we who watch Jesus rising fill. We too grow round with being seen. And all week we've been growing round by seeing one another and being seen. Okay, those are all new poems. I'm going to read one poem from my latest collection just to close out. And it is a poem that honors communities and what we mean to one another. About standing in kinship. We all have the same little bones in our foot, 26 with funny names like nervicular. Together, they build something strong, our foot arch, a pyramid holding us up. These bones don't get cast when they break. We tape them, one phalange to its neighbor for support. Other things work that way too. Find healing in the leaning, the closeness. Our feet have 1/4 of all the bones in our body. Maybe we should give more honor to feet and to all the tiny but blessed cogs in the world. communities, the forgotten architecture of friendship. Chimigwech.
Just these exquisite perfections. Thank you, Kim. And I want to take this moment to just thank the work that Kim does and also the work that Tyler does here. It is a very beautiful thing, and it is a very special thing to build these kinds of spaces. They're spaces of possibility, and Kim and Tyler are both just magicians of possibility. So please give it up for both of them one more time. And if you have not spent any time in the Poetry Center across the way, do. It is a terrific resource. There's 60,000 books of poetry. Imagine that. Did you say 10 million poems? 10 million poems. Each of those a connection, each of them. So do take a look at it. Wow, we are in for a treat. And also, so Laura was one of our faculty members this week, and it's been so wonderful to learn in your company, Laura, and to see the way that you showed up for the fellows, and also the way that Laura's been on the board of INEPO for some time now, and to see, you know, in a distance, in a little square, often, just the way that you offer your wisdom and the way that you offer your insightfulness to the work that we're doing at INEPO. So thank you, and I cannot wait to hear your poetry tonight. And Arizona Poet Laureate, right? Right? Wow, I'm so excited. So Laura Tohi, Indigenous Sleepy Rock People Clan, born for the Bitterwater People Clan. She's written 5 books, and her work has appeared in US, Canada, Chile, and Europe. Her commissioned librettos, Enemy Slayer, a Navajo Oratorio, and Nahastan of the Glittering World. If you don't like my Denebazad, you should hear my French. It's terrible. So made their world premieres in Arizona and France, respectively. Among her awards are the 2020 Academy of American Poetry Fellowship, Arizona Book Association's Glyph Award for Best Poetry and Best Book, and nomination for the Pushcart Award. She's a professor emerita with distinction from Arizona State University. Give it up for the current Poet Laureate of Arizona.
There, you can see me. Thank you so much for coming out tonight on this very cool spring evening to hear poetry. It's great to see your faces and to be in the company of these great emerging poets from all over the country that we've had the pleasure to work with, and to work with the faculty that are here tonight, and especially to Kim for helping make all this possible, and to Tyler, and to Paula. I don't know if she's still here or not, but I'm gonna go ahead and start reading because probably getting time to get ready to put on our pajamas pretty soon, all right? So I'm gonna read a couple of old poems from my first book called No Parole Today. When I was at the boarding school in Albuquerque, New Mexico, there were 2 groups of students that dressed a particular way, and that's what I wrote about in this poem, Cat or Stomp. To all the former cats and stomps of the Navajo Nation. The first few days back at the Indian school after summer vacation, you wore your new clothes, Wrangler tight jeans stitched on the side, and boots, if you were lucky enough to have a pair, Tony Lama, Nakona, or Acme. A true stomp listened to country western music, Waylon and George Jones, dying cowboy music and all that stuff. You wore go-go boots and bell-bottoms if you were a cat and danced to the Rolling Stones, even if you wore tennis shoes it was clear which side you were on. Every year, the smoking Greyhound buses pulled up in front of the old gymnasium, bringing loads of students fresh off the reservation, dragging metal trunks, train cases, and cardboard boxes precariously tied with string. The word spread quickly of some new kid from Chinle or many farms. Is he a cat or Stomp? Someone would ask, Stomp, and those with appropriate clothing would get their chance to dance with him that night. Speaking of moons, my father, when I went to go visit him one time, he was talking about the moon and what it meant. And it was apparent the way he was talking about the moon and what I had experienced a few days earlier in the Midwest and outside my home. And so there's these two perspectives about the moon. This was during an eclipse, and it's called When the Moon Died. Peter MacDonald, former president of the Dene Nation, was convicted of various illegal activities and is now serving a prison sentence. He's out now. When the moon died, we watched in silent awe the closing of her light above the treetops. My father's voice comes back to me. It's a bad sign for us when it happens at night. It hasn't rained here, and we look eastward at the thirsty earth, the sun bearing down on the cracks in the ground. We must not be living right. The neighbor brought out a camera and aimed it at the moon. Minutes later, only a blurred image emerged. If it happens during the day, it's bad for the white people. Years ago, the flu killed a lot of them. It was bad. I returned to the typewriter while the moon hid herself as if in shame. They say you're not supposed to do anything. Don't go to bed. Don't eat. Pregnant women shouldn't see it. 3 people shot because of McDonald. We're not living right. When the moon died, she reminded us of the earth ripping apart, violent tremors, greasy oceans, the panic of steel winds, whipping shorelines and thirsty fields. Grandfather trees pull for profit. The earth is angry at the people. We're not living right. Thank you. And I also have a couple of poems about water and rain, which is what I'm focusing on my manuscript. So these are 2 poems about the way Dene people's viewpoints see rain. One is a male rain and one is a female rain. And when it's soft and falls to the ground, it makes things grow. And then the male rain is the opposite. It's pretty violent, sometimes leading to floods. And so these are 2 poems about that. I'm going to read the first one in Navajo. Nilsa ba'ad, shada'ate go dahnal doko aljish, kos khazli, khonez kaza, nilsa b'tkajol b'joltsa, aro nilsa ba'ad b'yaja b'ditna. Nani nilkako, nilsa ba'ad b'yaja khazli, ch'illatka khujon da tope alche khaja. Aro nikik itnes tatlad. Female rain dancing from the south, cloudy, cool, and gray, pregnant with rain child. At dawn, she gives birth to a gentle mist. Flowers bow with wet sustenance, luminescence all around. Nilsa baka, ade li dilchil god e na halengo bilchel loj. Bahachit go na ye ik ekots id desk as go ahola. Tuyala do niolso ahola. Hashke nilsa bakha nazba. Tlebiga atra najno dako iska. Aro tlipel anal tloj. Anaya ta akon ayila. Male rain, he comes riding a dark horse, angry, malevolent, cold, bringing floods and heavy winds. Warrior rain, having a 49-night dance, then rides away, leaving his enemy behind. And a lot of the poems in this book are about, it's a love, I guess you'd call it love letter to this place on the Navajo Nation homeland called Tseyit, which means deep in the rock, and it's known on maps as Canyon de Chelly. I'm sure some of you have been there. It's a very beautiful place. So these poems are focused on that place. And I grew up on the other side of that mountain, but I never went there until I was in college. Blue horses running. Possibilities exist with you, where sagebrush dots the desert scape, where a string of crows float like beads on a turquoise sky, and where mountains hold plants spread out like a blanket. We travel the colors of brilliant red rock cliffs that form within ancestral space. We travel on the colors of the rainbow and know what it means to come forth, to awaken. Here it's possible to know that you belong to the earth, in a language that names us, that this place formed you and carved the high bones in your face. Cedar and rock monoliths know the motion of wind, the patience of waiting, the gathering of strength. Here, it's possible to know the world in the words of our ancestors, the simple beauty of blue horses running. I was mentioning the female rain. The rain is because it's female. I was playing with the image of rain and water, and my son and his wife are expecting their second child any day now. It's going to be a little boy, so we're very thrilled for that. And so I had a poem for my granddaughter, and for some reason I brought the draft, but I'm not going to read it because it's not ready yet. Several years ago, the Grand Canyon was having its anniversary, so this is a poem about that. My eyes are small, an homage to the Grand Canyon. My eyes are small, they take only tiny licks at the walls of this canyon. My ears pick up my late brother's steps cracking on the Kaibab Trail. My voice a whisper, a feather drifting on the wind, and yet my soul immense with the millennia of rocks and stars rises, 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 rises. Somebody left a bottle of water. Thank you so much. I'm so thirsty. Because so happy it was there. I come from weavers. They wove on loom and I weave on paper. And when I spent summers with my grandmother, who was a weaver, she would have my cousin and I card the wool that was dirty. And then once we got it cleaned off with everything on it, then we'd roll it up for her. And then she'd take that with her spin, and then she'd start spinning. And she always had stories to go along with what we were doing or give us advice. We were just about 12 years old. And there's a word, several words in here. Ichahi is the moths that fly around and are attracted to light. And then I call her Nala because she's my paternal grandmother. Moth madness. Moths circle the kerosene lamp on the floor that sheds a dim light on our night work. My cousin and I keep carting the woolly clumps, twigs and dirt that clung to the sheep from their wanderings among sagebrush and thistle drop into our laps. We card and card to transform them into layers of soft clouds for Nala's spindle. Ich ahi, says Nala, almost in a whisper, like she was afraid to stir the name, like the name might release something formed from night. Ich ahi. The word flutters in the shadows and cautions against all that is unbalanced in the glittering world. The reckless, the violators, the amoral, evil floating all around, that must be righted with songs and prayers. Bahatzid, she exclaims, no longer whispering. Harsh cautions against a suicidal jump into the fire. I would learn what it means to yearn for the fire burning in a stranger, the coup de foudre that matched my own moth madness. Nala's spindle tilts like the earth's axis that she spins against her thigh. Clouds of wool transform again into strands of color for her loom that becomes her world. She calls the earth and sky. She calls stories of female mountains. She calls stories of male mountains to her. Geometric designs to balance the world against the moth madness. And this last poem is about the creative inspiration of hummingbirds, but also about a family member, written in 2019. For Catherine, a hummingbird hovers above the branches outside the window. Soon the earth will rise again, waking from earth's sleep. Green leaves begin to emerge. Tiny purple flowers bloom like tiny notes of music. Hashanah, and so it is. We called you loved one. We called you daughter, sister, wife, mother, grandmother. We called you friend, teacher. After we have feasted in your honor, remembered you in tender ways, told stories of you, and the rain has washed away our tears, we will give you back to the other side. We will release you. We will sing you back to your relatives, sing you back to the places where you once walked, and return you to the stars. Hashanah, and so it is. You will return to us in the changing season of a hummingbird hovering above a branch, the season of green leaves emerging in the notes of tiny purple flowers singing in the rain. Thank you. Yeah. Now it's time to dance.
Well, Kimberly teased out that we have one more treat in store, and indeed we do. So I am going to bring Kimberly back to the stage, and she'll explain what's happening.
Okay, this is it. Have you noticed the flags been flying? So the Poetry Center has a display of the 22 flags of the Indigenous nations of Arizona. And when we were coming and we found that out, we thought, What if we got a flag for every nation of our fellows and faculty and visiting writers? So we did. And you may have seen those flying outside. So we thought a lot about flags this week. We held our flags, we talked about our flags, we thought about the symbol of the flag, the origin of the symbol of the flag. Oops, I think if I go over there, you lose me. And we also thought about what did tribes have before they had the kind of flag that's an oblong. And we thought about what other things do we hold dear? And what would, if we were to make a flag, from what would we make it, or for whom would we make it? And so we wanted to both think about the symbolism of flag, perhaps critique that a little bit or a lot, and then also envision what a flag could be for us. So all the fellows have written. We created a collaborative poem, and everybody's going to come up and we're going to read it, boom, 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 boom. So you have to all line up in the order in which your lines come. And I will tell you, in case you're wondering, Ophelia, Laura, Chris Hosnick, Sunny, Mariana, Danielle, Pomakai, Christopher, Robert, Celine, Anna, me, Kentaro, Haley, Max, Anthony, and Rob. Okay, and then what we're going to do is, first of all, I just want to make sure I'm standing. I'm finding by after Anna, before Kentara. Okay, so here it is. It's called, guess what it's called? Flag song. In tribal nations, for powwows, we have flag songs, and that's how we bring them in. So that's what this is called. Ophelia.
Let's make a flag at the time of creation. It will be tied with sinew and secured with ushap. It will be made of first water and clay that becomes us. It will unfurl in first wind, and on first night, it will have the stars to guide it.
The nation inside me is a clay pot that doesn't crack when held to fire.
This nation inside me, reds melt and fence, burrow in the dirt with callous hands, rubbing my lower back, a whisper across time, you will be Dene again.
The nation inside me is glossed in copper tinsel and turns the eye towards the shedded. Tire carcass blessed in bergamot buds are glitter lakes that go strange in the sun, the rainbow, glorious against gravel.
The nation inside me existed long before its flag. When I wrap myself in my nation's flag, I wrap myself in the waters of my homeland. Our children spread across the land, villages become islands, drowning in an ocean of stripes and stars, because a flag cannot contain the journey it took to fly.
I wrap myself in the kitchen radio, dripping early morning Dene Bazad, dripping translation as my thoughts move letters to form something akin to understanding.
When I wrap myself in my nation's flag, I wrap myself in ocean and fire, torn from tapa, colors a smell of rain amidst choked kiawe trees.
I wrap myself in shoreline, sea breeze, and sky, the deep blue of water, the deep blue of grief. I fly the flag to remember, tongue of the sun, hands of the earth, the ocean our elder, our future not forgetting.
When I wrap myself in my nation, I see my nieces with choke cherry-stained hands, hear aunties cackle at the grocery store, taste sweet che'aka made by Unchi. The stardust in my bones reminds me.
Before the American flag was off me, who breathed deeply, who raised mountains with rigid backs, who brought wana through valleys from Atashush, who gave the ability to weave baskets, who allowed shush to become wana, wana shah, from spirits back into Ahmi.
We are a nation that can't be confined to cloth, but we will be raised. So let's make a flag of Magizi feathers stored in cedar boxes. Gift me momentum toward the seventh fire prophecy instead of the American flag.
Let us make a flag for water nations, a flag from morning fog rising over rice beds, from the ripe stalks that wave, gone hands that wave, a flag of oblong and symbol, a flag of patriotic fantasy cannot contain distant water drums, the shh, shh breath of ripe stalks in fall, the over-under of hair braiding. The math of flag cannot erase our belonging.
Wool woven woman, Helen at the base of Black Mesa, Lily from Monuments Valley, ring to into clay, squash, and tears, then erosion of fear.
I fly for red birds who do not flutter away from oncoming storms, who know that one day we will excise all corners from our flags until only the center is left.
We have our own flag, embroidered with green corn, rain, flowers, butterflies, and mountains, with embellishments of eagle and macaw feathers and foxtail, payatyamo.
When I drape my shoulders in this fabric, this azure seal and cloth of another Minnesota, this veil is an emblem of my mother, her endless obsidian, her northern sky, her fraction of a sun set long ago.
I drape myself in Ladi stones carved from the earth. In the Atso Atupat in a warrior's sling, I drape myself in a sky that burns so bright it might become a flag of its own. Thank you so much, everybody. And thank you so much for being here. Give it up for all these amazing poets. Did I not say Indigenous excellence? Give it up. Standing ovation, jumping ovation. Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. Have a wonderful evening. And thank you to the University of Arizona Poetry Center for hosting us.